Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, today we are taking a look at something the chatter on social media and beyond. Recently, Lalit Modi posted a couple of photographs of himself with Sushmita Sen. It seems they are dating. Maybe a marriage is also on the cards. But the storm that followed, the comments that Sushmita Sen had to go through, being called a gold digger. Of course, being Sushmita Sen, she took them chin on and responded. But the kind of reaction that one is getting, is it something that we all should react to? And also, one needs to temper, one needs to be a little more tolerant of other relationships, other equations. That is something we are going to be discussing on today's show. Joining me for this discussion is Kaveri Vanzai. She's former editor India Today and author. She just, I think her latest book is The Three Khans, and she's written other books also. There is Pratibha Prahlad. She's an arts administrator. She's a cultural dancer and a commentator. There is Apra Kuchal. She's the chairperson of We Care, an initiative that promotes women, youth, culture and events. But Kaveri, really, you've seen the reaction to the photographs that Lalit Modi put out. What is your first take on that?
Well, one, that Lalit Modi is hardly a catch for anyone. So I'm not particularly excited by it. Two, Bollywood and cricket have a long association going back to Gary Sobers and Anju Mahendru, which is, I think, much before the time of even of this panel. And three, that Lalit Modi hasn't met a single opportunity or incident that all its worth for newsworthiness. He loves the spotlight. He loves headlines. At his own daughter's wedding, he called himself one of the biggest showmen of the world. And there was this wonderful interview with Hassan Minhaj, who described him as a mix of P.T. Barnum, Vince McMahon, and Billy McFarland, who started this Fire Festival, which is a mix of a whole lot of frauds, and he loved it. He loved the compliment. So that tells you exactly what sort of a guy he is. He loves publicity. And, there's nothing better than latching on to a former Miss Universe. But it's more like the senior citizen version of Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma. So I don't really get why everyone is so excited. It's nice, two middle-aged people finding love, good. I think everyone should. But the level of excitement around it, I think, shows how desperate we are for a good news story. And, it's sort of a lifestyles of the rich and fabulous meeting a former Miss Universe who's, got a decent career going. Nothing wrong with that. But, they're not... he's not exactly a catch. He could do better, in my opinion. And of course, it smacks of the kind of misogyny that one faces all the time, that one sees all the time. Whether or not we have a Draupadi Murmu as president or not, this misogyny is deeply, deeply set in the Indian mind.
Well said, Kaveri. But Pratibha, you've been at the receiving end also, of comments like this, the eye of the public storm. What is your first reaction to the comments that Sushmita Sen especially has to undergo?
Priya, my take on this is that it's everybody's life and everybody has a right to choice. And they have to live their choices. It's not like it's going to be, a rainbow walk or something, or a walk in the clouds for anybody who makes these difficult choices. So they have to live through it. And I have lived through it. And I know at one time I was at the receiving end. But then I also had a lot of people on my side who said that, that there were many other opportunities out there for me, just like Kaveri spoke about. But I think relationships, are destined. And I believe in this, in destiny. And I think that, well, somewhere along, life's path, if you make hard choices, or any choice for that matter, you have to live through it. You have to, be man, enough, or woman enough, or whatever you want to say, to hold your head high and say, yes, I made these choices, and it comes with all its, good things and bad things, and so I have to make sense of it, make sense of my life. I think Sushmita has always lived life on her own terms. And she's had her relationships, she's had her, she's made other choices too, which are unusual. And Priya, somewhere, I think I was kind of ahead of the curve, but I think now at this time, in this age, to be commenting on, Sushmita Sen and Lalit Modi's relationship is voyeurism of an extreme kind, because, my first reaction to that was, get a life, people, get a life. Don't talk about these people. Don't you have a life? Is what I would say. So basically, I didn't react very much. I didn't give too much, thought to what was being said. I said one more page in Sushmita's, life, and maybe Lalit Modi's, who I don't know. So it's their choice, and I'm sure they'll live through it.
But is it voyeurism, Apra? Because it's Lalit Modi who put up those pictures also. And as Kaveri pointed out, he loves the limelight and he's, lives in it. Sushmita didn't put up those pictures. And some of them, one or couple of them are a little intimate also. So you are inviting a certain kind of comment. If he didn't want it, he could have just, why go public with it when they're not even married? So are we jumping in?
Priya, there are two things to a celebrity's life. One is, even if you want to keep it extremely private, there are people, peeping toms out there. The people who, have a sadistic pleasure in figuring out what you're doing with your life. So they will be out there. They'll be somewhere. Look at what happened to, Lady Diana and, towards the end of her life. So there are people out there. Media is like overzealous. These days, social media is completely over the top. And I think, if you are kind of mature and you have a certain, sensitivity, empathy to other people's lives, you won't comment on it. Maybe Lalit Modi had a really, hard time in the last whatever number of years he lived, and maybe he's just coming out of his, those bad times, and maybe he looks at Sushmita and whatever else is happening in his life as good times, and he has a right to to speak for himself and to say that he's happy, that he's in a happy space. And if Sushmita wanted to keep it private, that's her prerogative too. So I don't think we can comment on people's prerogatives or what they wish to do. But for thousands and lakhs of others to jump in and start calling them names, start judging them, start talking about their relationship, to kind of figure out why they're in a relationship in the first place. So maybe she wants the money, maybe he wants a glamorous woman. These kinds of, messaging or writings, I think is voyeurism. Yeah.
Apra, your take on that?
I really feel, the internet has always had problems with women choosing their own partners. The bias would peak if the partner was somehow richer or younger or, was an ex, or if he had children, unless a man is conventionally fit to be a potential husband to the woman, she's wrong to have chosen him. And we've seen that in the past. Funny how we seldom or never see the same standards being applied to men. I really, I think Suhail would agree with me. And the whole concept of gold digging is based on stereotypical societal roles, which, if scrutinized, they have no base other than embedded in misogyny. And, we talk about world being a better place for our children with the concepts of gentle parenting and increased mental health awareness. But until and unless, society gets out of these demeaning gender stops, we will not be able to give our future generations what we really want to give them.
You are the last man standing, or rather the only man on this show, which is why I gave you the last word. You heard the conversation, various thoughts have come up. What is your reaction?
See, I have a very logical and clinical view about life. If you are occupying that kind of space, and if you're in the public domain, then be ready for the brickbats and the bouquets. You can't have it your way all the time. A, B. I call it the DGAF syndrome. So don't give a, I can't use the other word, but it's fish. So you have to have that syndrome in your head that, you don't give a toss. On the Sushmita thing, the thing is, I know both the characters very well, not acquaintances very well. Lalit has been dying for a revival, which he believes he deserves because all said and done, he did a brilliant job with IPL. Sushmita is unarguably one of the nicest, brightest, and spunkiest women you will ever meet. So when this thing happened, I remember her sending me a WhatsApp saying, darling, all this is rubbish. The diamonds are mine. The call is mine. So this whole gold digging concept, as Kaveri said, I think it's a terrible concept to blame women, because I know more men who are gold diggers than women who are ostensibly gold diggers.
Like
So
a
if a
clap, I
man
would
marries
say.
for money, you don't call him a gold digger. You say he's smart. Ki bhai, he has married smartly. A woman marries someone who's richer than her, you say gold digger. So the hypocrisy is in our society, it's in our system. We can't do anything about it. Now let's come to India. We are actually a knowledge-starved economy. We have idiots in parliament. I mean, intellectually innocent people, I better not say idiots. We have duffers in running government. Knowledge has escaped us. We have no anchoring in our literature, in our history. We have nothing better to do. We are a nation of V&V, vicarious living and voyeurism. When someone is happy, we are the least happy. The crab was not found in the oceans or in the seas. It was actually discovered by an Indian. We have that mentality and we infuse that mentality with everything around us. I will want to see Kaveri unhappy. Why? Because I may not know her. I may not have anything to do with her. But why is she happy? Now, here are two people. They've put out photographs. At least one of them has put out a photograph. Big deal. But now look at the news cycle. Was there nothing important happening that day? You had price rise as an issue. You had this bloke who was arrested. You had other things going on in our fine country. What did we do? From 8 p.m. till 11:30 p.m., every channel, including the magnificent NewsX, every channel carried news only about this. It tells you of who we are and who we've become. We have become a shallow, nervous, clingy society who interferes in everyone else's business but our own. These are strong words, but this is the truth. We need to at times show a mirror to ourselves. We are damn good at commenting on others, but this is who we are. Bhai, do log khush hain. Aap unko khush rehne do. They're not stealing your money. Sushmita Sen has not asked Priya Sahgal or Pratibha Prahlad or Apra or Kaveri for a ring. Lalit Modi has not wooed any of you for. How the hell does it matter? If they are happy, let them be happy. If they screw up tomorrow, they'll screw up. Then you do your analysis. We are a great one who do paralysis through analysis. We paralyze the whole situation. Ki bhai, ye chalega hi nahi. A, B. People who can't even spell psychology were now giving commentary on, the psychological inferences, the sociological trends. These duffers can't even spell psychology if you give them a dictionary and mark the page. But then you had all these self-styled sociologists, not to mention the entire army, other than Kaveri, of Bollywood experts, who, if you ask them about cinematic history, they would think Kurosawa is a Japanese restaurant and not a filmmaker.
So and
that mall is still spelled M-A-L-L and not M-A-L-L-E. But these are the duffers that we are surrounded by. And each one of them became an expert. So my thing is, just be calm and stay happy. If people are kissing each other, killing each other, how does it matter? We have made, for a country that invented Kama Sutra and the zero alongside, we make a big deal about sexual advances or about relationships. I mean, half our prime ministers have had illicit relationships. वो तो हमने कभी किसी की बात नहीं की. आप मेरे को बोलो, people in power or whatever. Point I'm making, Priya, is very simple. This is something which is not reflective of Lalit Modi and Sushmita Sen. It is emblematic, symptomatic of who we are and who we've become. That, to my mind, is a sad commentary on the India of today. Pratibha says it rightly, that, when she fell in love with Hegde Saab, and, I saw them. I saw that relationship flower. It was a relationship of equals. Here was a tremendous cultural icon in the form of Pratibha Prahlad, and here was Ramakrishna Hegde, a brilliant, very empathetic, very compassionate politician. They didn't have an affair. They weren't going to Nehru Park and, hiding under a monument and making out. No, it was an affair which led to a relationship which was cemented in love. Why would you decry that? And who the hell are you to decry anything? So my whole point is that, there's an old saying, with forms of government let fools contest, that which is governed best is best. With forms of love, let only lovers yield, for we will never know what they feel. Actually, this is my original line. By the way.
Yes, Sahel, you are an original, that's for sure. But
I know.
I'm going to take
There's
a
no
break.
copy.
No arguments with what you said so far, but I'm going to take a break and come back and continue the conversation. Hello and welcome back to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We're here discussing the media hype and the other hype, the coverage over Lalit Modi's announcement that he is dating Sushmita Sen. Is it called for? Has he asked for it by putting up pictures like that? I mean, this is again, Kaveri, the old argument about, say sexual harassment. She was wearing clothes like that, so she asked for it. Just because he put up pictures, does it mean that everybody has a right to comment?
Oh, no. I think that doesn't apply to Lalit Modi. He, of course, has asked for it. He would never put up a picture unless he didn't want the world to comment on it. This is a man, remember, who has actually posted covers of every magazine that he ever featured on, has hoardings, pictures of hoardings that he ever featured on. He actually is going to make his own biopic. I've not ever heard of anyone who wants to do that. He's going to make it himself. He doesn't want anyone else to do it. So this is a man who just absolutely adores the spotlight, and anytime anything happens with IPL, he pops up from whichever part of the world he is in, whether he's in Sardinia or Maldives, what he calls a whirling global tour, which I think he means whirlwind global tour. So he pops up from wherever and sort of claims credit for it. And of course, the jury's out whether he should claim credit entirely for it. It wasn't entirely him. There was IMG involved. There was some element of BCCI backing as well. But and this is a man of whom stories are legendary. I mean, there is not a single urban legend about him which is not true, whether it is bad behavior at a wedding or stamping his feet outside the stadium wanting to get in. I mean, there are legions and legions of stories about him. So that's one thing. The other thing is on the gold digger thing. I want to say that Lalit Modi has never actually paid anyone who has ever asked him for dues. If you look at his business cycle over the years, whether it was Disney with his joint venture with Buena Vista or ESPN, he has never actually paid his dues. So I don't think Sushmita can expect any money from him because he simply does not believe in paying people. So I don't think she ever went into that relationship wanting that. She's pretty well off herself. She's had a resurgence in her career. And as we all know, with women like her who are in the public eye, they just have to go to inaugurate a store or inaugurate a restaurant. They make more money than they ever will by making a film. So they really don't need the money. They have enough of it. It's just
very true.
Their call whether they want to do that sort of stuff or not. And she can buy her diamonds. She can buy diamonds for her daughters. She can buy diamonds for all the boyfriends that she's had, which she's been very open about. And I think that is one of the key issues here. She doesn't live by that coy code that Bollywood heroines live by. They say one thing and do another. Right. And, they're always sort of virginal and, Salman Khan has announced that on national television that he was a virgin. That so tells you what Bollywood hypocrisy is all about. Okay. So that is the coy code that she broke a long time ago. So people have always viewed her with I wouldn't say suspicion, but with some sort of doubt. How do you deal with a person like that who is so open about her relationships? So whether it's a Roman shawl or I love that name, by the way. I don't think it's real, but it's...
Is it a shatush or is it a pashmina?
I wonder, but I love that that name, whether it's that or Vikram Bhatt. I mean, she doesn't care. She puts herself out there, and if you don't like it, it's your problem. So, she's a kind of anti-Lalit Modi. She doesn't seek publicity, but it comes to her. Lalit Modi seeks publicity, but it really, comes to him with all the bad and good aspects of it. So it's really two people, in my opinion, who are very unlike each other. So good luck to them. I hope it lasts. But even if it doesn't, really, who cares? We'll move on to the next couple, invent a new hashtag, wait for the wedding, discuss the wedding, discuss the bride's clothes, groom.
Have another show. I'm going to cut you and get Pratibha.
That's all. I'm sorry, but that's all we seem to be doing,
Pratibha, your reaction to what Suhail has been saying and everybody?
Well, I completely agree with what Suhail said and also what Kaveri said just now about, Sushmita being her own person and she, living her life to the fullest, not worrying for a second what anybody would think about her or the choices that she makes. And I admire her for that, actually. She's a strong woman. And I agree with Suhail on many fronts. I mean, our society is not just hypocritical, we are also very diabolically hypocritical. Like we said, we don't want anyone to be happy. And this whole business of crab mentality, we have that. We don't want anyone out there being successful, happy, doing their thing. We want to drag everybody down to our own miserable lives. So like I told you the very first time, Priya, my first choice was, oh my God, again, now like get a life people kind of a thing. I didn't really get into all those, hashtags and social media. I didn't spend time, reading what they said. I just saw the pictures. I said, okay, Sushmita looks lovely. And that was the only kind of a, reaction that I had in my mind. So, I'm sure, she knows what she's doing. And if her heart is involved, then, well, I hope it's in a good place. Like Kaveri says, I hope, she doesn't get, disappointed. And I really, really think that all these, name calling, like an older woman with a younger man being called a cougar, with a toy boy, and then, a younger woman with an older man being called a gold digger or a diamond digger or whatever she's called, ambition. Just the other day, Priya, it's interesting we're talking about name calling because someone, while introducing me somewhere, called me a go-getter. Now I said, and what is a go-getter? I mean, are you saying that, is it gender specific? Are you saying that, women who are ambitious, who put themselves out there, who have a successful career, who are talking to people about, work, are go-getters or something like that? I was like very taken aback. And I had this discussion with a lot of people. I said, we just use that phrase without thinking, that anybody who's like, successful and who gets what she wants is a go-getter.
Labels, yeah.
Labels are very stupid, it's a very stupid label. It's very, gender specific, and which is not right at all, as, Apar said. And then it's also very demeaning to be judging
that's a good
other
point.
people.
We're out of time, so I'm interrupting everybody. Apra,
Yeah.
the easy labels is something that's coming out also. Quick to judge, rush to judgment, criticize.
Yeah, absolutely. And, dating choices have to adhere to some kind of so-called norms, which I don't understand. And come on, as everybody's been saying, it's 2022. Love is so hard to come. And if somebody's finding love, we wish them all the best rather than, employing a particular hate brand of punch down humor. I mean, very, very sad about the entire thing. And, we'll all have to stop online witch hunt. This is what I can feel. It is really, really sad. We should not be doing it.
So, hey, last word to you.
Live and let love.
Fair enough. You can expand if you want. You have 2 minutes.
No, in the sense, as I said, we are no one, we have no business, we have no authority, and we have no right to comment on anyone other than our own miserable lives if our lives are miserable. Why on earth should we comment? Why on earth should we conjecture? People are happy, let them be happy. If misery hits them, they'll be miserable. They're not going to come and, pass that misery on to you. Lalit Modi and Sushmita are not going to invite you to their wedding, or if they don't have one. So how does it matter? The point is, get busy with real issues. And this is my appeal even to the media. There are far graver issues that afflict India today. Focus on those rather than on cherry picking stupid, vacuous, shallow issues.
And
Well
what
said.
we have been giving a very wrong message to the future generations. Absolutely. This message is going to go in a very bad taste for everyone.
But you know what, Sahel, you said about everybody becoming experts? That unfortunately is the state of TV debates today. Any issue you have self-styled,
But see, I never talk about agriculture. I never comment on animal husbandry. And I certainly don't comment on elections, because these are three variables you never know anything about.
there are enough people who do come and comment. And in fact, that's a discussion we've been having as to why TV debates are also getting so vacuous. But thank you for today's conversation. And I do, in a way, tend to agree with what Kaveri said also. Yes, live and let live. But, when that person is someone like Lalit Modi, who's so in your face
that's
out
true.
there, and so there will be
But the line from the program is live and let love.
Yeah.
Sorry, live and let love. So, hey, give you totally the last word. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.